Marvel Champions Assemble.
Hey everybody, it's Lloyd with Just Got Played, and today I am back with yet another versus video. Today we're going to be taking a look at Marvel Legendary versus Marvel Champions. So let's get into it and see what I think. So first off, let's go ahead and introduce what these two games are. So this is Marvel Legendary Dark City Expansion. I don't have my base game box anymore. Surprisingly, I still had this tucked away in a closet somewhere, but it's empty. Most of my expansion boxes are gone. I have so many cards that I actually put all my Marvel Legendary into a different kind of storage system to hold all of the cards, because I have like 3,000 or 4,000 cards. So we're looking at Marvel Legendary, the deck builder, versus Marvel Champions, the card game. So like I said, this is a deck builder put out from Upper Deck back in 2012. It is 1 to 5 players. It's listed as a semi-co-op deck builder, but it's mainly, I think, played by most people as a strict co-op, just because you either all win together or you all lose together. And then at the end, after you've all won together, somebody actually wins because they have more points based on who they fought. But it's kind of pointless. It's a co-op. If you want to get competitive, you can compare scores at the end. But at the end of the day, we always play just strict co-op because you either all lose together or you all win. And at the end of the day, I don't think the heroes would be fighting each other to get the best score. I mean, I guess maybe like Deadpool might be keeping count, but you know, at the end of the day, they're still going to try and, you know, Deadpool's not going to not beat up a bad guy because he wants to wait for the next bigger bad guy to get more points. So you get what I'm saying. So that is Marvel Legendary. Marvel Champions is from Fantasy Flight. This came out a few years ago. I'm not sure the exact date, 2017, 2018, somewhere in there. This is part of their living card game system. So what that means is that pretty much every month or every couple months, they put out a new expansion, a new hero, a new deck of cards, and that just keeps going perpetually. It is a money printing machine, much like the expansions for Legendary. So Marvel Champions, it says it's the card game. What does that mean? This is a co-op for 1 to 4 players. You are going to fight a bad guy with a pre-constructed deck of cards. And you are that hero. Your teammate is a different hero, and you're going to fight a big bad guy. So what is the difference? Marvel Legendary is a deck builder. And what is a deck builder? So a deck builder is a game where everyone in the game starts with the same hand of starter cards. In Marvel Legendary's case, it's 12 cards. You're going to have a certain number of cards that give you 1 currency, which allows you to recruit heroes, and a certain number of cards that give you a different currency, which is attack power, which is what you use to fight villains, and you fight the main mastermind. So in a deck builder, you are going to have a market of new cards that you can buy and put into your deck. And the goal is to build a deck that has lots of cool combos and synergies on the fly throughout the game, and also try to get rid of as many of your starting cards because they aren't very good. So for instance, in this game, you are essentially a shield agent, a shield commander, and you are putting together a team of heroes. So the game has 5 heroes that you're going to put into a deck. The game comes with 15 heroes. You're going to choose 5 of those to construct the deck of the shared market. Every character will be able to, or every player will be able to recruit all of the same heroes. So if we pick, Hulk, Spider-Man, Thor, Storm, and Gambit, everyone's going to have access to those cards. Now, the difference is that each deck of cards for the heroes comes with 4 different cards. They come with 2 commons, an uncommon, and a rare. And as they go up in rarity, they get better or have more use or more synergy. They also are more expensive. However, the rare cards are usually somewhat game breaking, and they're going to allow you, if you can get that card and get it to work multiple times, you're going to do some really cool stuff. So in this game, you are not the actual hero. You are not playing as the Hulk and I'm Spider-Man and that other person is Wolverine. We are essentially SHIELD agents, and we are recruiting these people onto our teams to go fight. And we're essentially kind of giving them orders. We're saying, Hulk, go smash. Wolverine, go snick it and go slice up some people over there. And Storm, make some rain. And then the next player is going to go, hey, Hulk, go cannonball through that wall over there. And Spider-Man, web flip over there and shoot some people in the face. And, Thor, shoot some lightning down. So that's how this game works in terms of how you're going to build your deck. You're also going to put together a villain deck. You're going to choose a particular mastermind to go against and a particular scheme, but we'll circle back around to that. We're going to talk about the differences between Marvel Champions, which is a deck construction type game. So similar terminology. I've seen some places where a lot of people call Marvel Champions a deck builder because you are building a deck, but it's not the same thing. The reason why I classify this as deck construction is because much like Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon, you're going to build a deck before you actually play the game. Building a deck is part of playing the game, but it's the part you do kind of by yourself before you actually go into battle. So think of this game as thematically, you're getting your gear together. You have to go fight Magneto, or in this case, you have to fight Ultron. You have to go fight him, and you kind of know what his strengths are, and you know what your strengths are. So you're trying to put together your best battle plan by slotting in certain cards before you even go into battle. And then that way, once you're in battle, you're hoping to get to those cards and be able to use them to enact your plan. So the way Marvel Champions works is you have a hero. That hero comes with a particular deck of cards. I am, for lack of a better term, I would be that hero. I would be Spider-Man, and somebody else would be Black Panther, and somebody else would be Iron Man. And so unlike Legendary, we're not all sharing the same heroes. I am, Spider-Man. And then along with that deck of cards specifically for Spider-Man, you have some standard cards that everyone has access to, and you can slot them into your deck. And then you also have these different kind of personality traits that are going to give you more powers as well. So they're color coded, similar to how the power sets in here are color coded. But you're going to have like leadership or power, and those are going to kind of fill the role of what they say they are. So leadership's going to give you stuff to help out your teammates more, and power is going to allow you to punch the bad guys a lot more. So there are some deck construction rules, or you can just take the pre-made decks right out of the box. The way Marvel Champions comes, 4 of the heroes are already set to go, and there's 2 more heroes in the box, or I think there's 1 more hero in the box, and that character is not have a deck built. So they don't come with enough cards right out of the box to use all 5 characters. If you want to use that other character, that other hero, you have to pull apart one of the other decks in order to make that person, in order to give that person a deck, essentially. Or the other way to do it is through the living card game system. So if you choose a color for a particular hero, say I want to be Black Panther and I want to, only go with, leadership, then you can look for specific character packs that come with leadership cards. And then you can just buy those. And essentially you can build up enough of a backlog of leadership cards to make a specific leadership deck just for Black Panther. That being said, that's the big difference between these 2 games. This one, you're building a deck on the fly, looking for cool combos and synergies. Marvel Champions, you are building a deck before you even play to put together your combat, your combos and synergies before you even play, and then you're trying to make those fire off in the game. So that's the big difference between them in terms of what kind of game they are. How they play is very similar. So aside from the drafting portion of this game, where you're going to be buying new cards to build your deck up, you're going to have a villain deck that is comprised of some villain cards, some henchman cards, some bystanders, and some master strikes and some scheme twists. And essentially breaking that down, what that is the big bad that you're going to face is the mastermind. He's going to bring with him, he's going to recruit some villains to come with him. And those villains are going to be like the Brotherhood of Mutants. And that deck comes with a specific set of cards, and you're going to put all of them into the deck. And then he's going to have some low-level henchmen to come with him. So in this case, maybe Magneto decides to choose some hand ninjas that carry out, some of his work, to throw them off the scent to make him think that it's not really mutants. So you're going to throw some of the henchmen hand ninjas into the deck as well. And depending on how many players you have, that card count is going to go up. So you might have 2 or 3 villain groups and 2 or 3 henchmen groups to go with it. The Master Strikes are essentially cards that when they come out, they let the mastermind come down and punch you in the face. So every mastermind has a Master Strike effect, and it's usually really bad. A lot of times it'll be like, look in your hand for a particular color of card. If you have that card, KO it. You just lost that card. It's gone forever. Sometimes it's just discard. Sometimes it just punches you and, you lose your hand, or you lose a turn, or I don't think anybody has to lose a turn, but you get the idea. Different random effects that are going to happen when that card comes out of the deck. And I also mentioned this scheme twist card. So in addition to fighting the mastermind and needing to punch him 4 times to get rid of all of his master plan cards, you're also going to have a scheme that the mastermind is trying to carry out. And the schemes vary from simple things like a simple countdown timer. So on the 7th scheme twist that comes out of the deck, the mastermind wins if you haven't defeated him yet. Or something like the mastermind is collecting bystanders to use as science experiments to make new mutants. And he wins whenever he gets to a certain amount of bystanders. Or, some of the game setup may change so that there's a certain amount of wounds, which are just cards that kind of clog up your hand in the stack. And once all those wounds are gone, that's it. Game's over. So there's tons of different ways that the schemes can defeat you. And what a scheme twist is just like the mastermind. Scheme twist has a little action that happens, and sometimes it's one action, sometimes it's you keep track of how many scheme twists there are, and like the 1st, the 3rd, the 5th, something bad is going to happen. The scheme twist stuff is almost always bad. So at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is beat up the bad guy, the mastermind, with your, on the fly deck building deck, and stop the scheme from happening. And that's the basic gist of what you're trying to do in Legendary. And it's surprisingly very similar to what you do in Marvel Champions. Marvel Champions, you choose a bad guy. Right out of the box, you have 3 different bad guys to choose from. In Champions, you choose one of those bad guys. He comes with like a little mini stack of cards. And then you choose a specific encounter similar to a scheme. You choose an encounter that you want to go, that the mastermind, the villain, is trying to enact. So you grab that scheme, or that encounter deck, and you mix that with a standard encounter. And so that encounter will have some bad guys mixed in. It'll have some like traps and effects that happen. And the standard ones will also have some like standard bad guys. And then each hero also has a little deck called the Nemesis deck. And in that case, it's the hero's arch nemesis. And it comes with some cards, and you're going to put those cards into the deck. And when those cards come out, it's going to be really bad. So it's a lot of the same stuff going on in terms of how, the actual thematic setting of the game. There's a bad guy. He's trying to carry out a particular plan, and you have to punch the bad guy a whole lot and stop the plan from happening before several different, loss conditions. Either, the bad guy, the timer runs out, the deck runs out of cards, or heroes get KO'd and there's nobody left to fight them. So both games have, that same kind of thing where there's, multiple loss conditions and typically only one win condition. One of the things that is a little different and is really cool in Marvel Champions is they have this alter ego system. So when I choose Spider-Man, that Spider-Man hero card that has some, special powers for Spider-Man, it has a backside, and that backside is Peter Parker. And every hero in here has that alter ego. And so part of the decision-making process during your turn is whether to flip over and go out of hero mode into alter ego mode or vice versa. So, certain cards will only work as Peter Parker and certain cards will only work as Spider-Man. And then also the bad guy triggers off of, which mode you're in. So if the hero is in, hero mode, then guess what? You're gonna scrap with the bad guy this turn. He's gonna come at you, and you're gonna have to fight him off. If you're in alter ego mode, there's usually some secondary condition that says, "Hey, if there's no hero to fight, do this instead." And it's usually bad, but sometimes you need that just to survive a round, so you don't get knocked out. And that is a really cool aspect that I don't think a lot of games have done in the hero genre. So it is a really cool feature that is very unique to Marvel Champions, and it's kind of what separates it from Marvel Legendary. You are that hero, and that alter ego flipping mode is a big decision point. You feel like you are that hero. Every hero feels different when you play them, and switching up that secondary deck of cards to leadership or power, one of the other ones, that makes the hero feel different, and cards work a different way because of that. The ease of entry for Marvel Champions is much, much higher. The bar for entry, it's just, there's a lot going on with this game. And you can play a game against a villain with your hero and the finely constructed deck you made and lose again and again and again and again and again. And it could come down to how many one particular card you have. Do you even want that particular card in your deck at all? Should you choose a different card to put in there? And there's deck construction rules. You have to use all of the hero cards from that deck. You have to use a certain amount of the color cards and a certain amount of standard cards. So there is a deck construction, but within that limit, just like in Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh, you have to figure out what you want in your deck to make it function how you want it to function. And specifically, like I said, thematically, that deck construction is you gearing up and putting your battle plan together before you go fight the bad guy. So you also have to take into account who you're fighting and which encounter you're in, so that you have cards that are, have utility in all situations, or very specialized for a very particular situation so that you can negate it. And that card, deck crafting, deck construction at the beginning is very daunting. You can take the decks right out of the right how they give them to you, right out of the package. And if you buy expansions, the deck comes pre-built with some extra cards in the back for you to use for your other characters. So you can use that deck exactly how they have it, but it's not going to work against everyone. And that's the thing. And it can be very frustrating, and this game can be very brutally difficult. And it can come down really to, do I need 3 of this card, or should I just put 1 or 2? Do I not need that card at all? What's making me lose? Is it this, do I need leadership instead of power? Like what's making me lose here? Whereas Marvel Legendary, there's a lot of setup involved, and I think there's a lot of setup in both of them. Both of them, you're putting together like a really big, a deck of cards to carry out the AI. But Legendary also, you have your hero deck that you got to put together. You have your, you have to follow the setup instructions for, the villain deck with the schemes. So there's a little bit more setup involved. However, that said, you can pretty much grab anything at random and toss it all together. As long as you follow the setup for the scheme, you can pretty much throw whatever you want in there and it's going to function. It may not function great, but you also, I don't think I've ever played and just felt completely powerless in a game. Like I can't get something to happen. I have felt like that in Marvel Champions, where it's just like, I'm using She-Hulk and I'm using, one particular card type and it's just not working. And I'm like, well, let me swap this out and try this one. Oh, I got a little bit better, but now I lost on turn 5 instead of turn 3. So, and this game is a lot of, to me, it's a lot of, forethoughts and micro adjustments in order to make it work. This, you're doing it on the fly. I'm gonna go red and yellow this game to try and put together these two synergies, and that's all I'm gonna go with. So I don't care about Hulk because he's got no yellow or green or red cards. I'm only gonna do these, and you can just build it on the fly. It's a little bit easier in terms of, like I said, that bar for entry. There are some nitpicks, gripes I have about the base game of Marvel Legendary, which is, like I said, there are 15 heroes. There are 4 different card types. You have 2 commons, uncommon, and a rare. And in the base game, all of the art on all 4 of those cards, those different cards, are exactly the same. They used to use stock art for all of them. And it is really hard to tell which card is which. They did do some graphic design to try and help separate the cards. So common cards have 2 borders, uncommon cards have 1 border, and rare cards are full card art and have no borders at the top. So you just see the card art. And you can kind of tell them apart, but at the end of the day, those common cards are still going to get mixed up, and you're going to have to constantly, if you're not sitting right in front of the board, you're constantly going to have to ask somebody to pick them up and tell you what they are, because you can't recognize them on site because they're all the same. With every expansion they put out after that, and I don't think they ever went back and redid the card art for any of the subsequent printings. But every expansion they did after that, all 4 card types have unique art. So it's easier at first glance to see what they are. And typically the art kind of embodies what the card is trying to do. So you get that connection of the picture is showing you something and it's reinforcing what the text is doing. So you can kind of look at the card and be like, oh, I'm going to shoot lightning on this. And sure enough, it's down there, you're going to shoot lightning. And then on the next one, it's like, oh, he's throwing his hammer. So this is going to be a punchy card. Sure enough, it's a punchy card. He's doing punch damage. That is my nitpick. So what I did actually, I went and downloaded the template for the cards off of BGG. And because I am a graphics person already, I was able to basically just grab custom art, put it on those templates, retype out all the cards, and I basically added 3 new pieces of art. Since my game is sleeved, I just sleeved the custom card with the original card, and now my base game has all fully unique art. That is a nitpick. If I can give a recommendation, if you're going to pick up Legendary and you're looking for any one expansion to get, look for Dark City. It is, if you get one expansion for Marvel Legendary, this is it. Dark City it was the first expansion, but it's also the best one they put out, I think. Just in terms of from original game to everything that it added. Everything after that built on what Dark City set up. But if you just need one expansion to add those extra characters, to flesh out those extra teams, this is the one to do it. I don't think they're doing any of these big expansions anymore. They used to do 2 small box expansions, which are 100 cards, and I think it's 5 heroes, a new mastermind, and a couple a henchman and a villain group, and some new schemes. And then they would do these. So they did Secret Wars. I think they did a couple Secret Wars. They did 4 of these or 5 of these because they did another big X-Men only one. But this one is a mix of everything. You've got Ghost Rider in here. You've got They added some new groups. They added a lot of new keywords. This is the one to get if you're going to get it. I really can't say which expansions are great for Marvel Champions. I've gotten the Wrecking Crew as bad guys. They're pretty cool. It changes up how the villains work because instead of 1, there's now 3. 3. And then I've got a couple new heroes. I haven't gone as all in on Marvel Champions as I had with Marvel Legendary, just because the time sink of trying to put together a deck before I play is a little bit... I have to be in the mood to want to do that. And this is just one of the ones that I can't just grab and put out on the table and jump right into it. Because if you do that 9 times out of 10, whatever deck you have, if it's not set up, precisely, it's going to just be a lesson in frustration. And you will rage quit Marvel Champions. I've rage quit it many times, only to go back and I got to crack this. I got to crack this nut. I got to figure this puzzle out. Hey, everybody. I just want to snap back in here real quick before I gave you my final thoughts on which one I would choose. I just wanted to go over one quick thing I didn't catch until I was editing. So Lloyd from the future here. What I didn't give you was what comes in each box and kind of the dollar to component ratio. So in Legendary, you're going to get 15 heroes, different hero decks. They have like Thor, Wolverine, Captain America, Deadpool, Gambit, Hulk, Spidey, among a few others. So there's a mix of Avengers. There's some Shield people in there because you get Nick Fury. There are X-Men and Spidey and Friends. Those were kind of the team aspects that were in the base box. You're also going to get 4 different masterminds, which are Doom, Loki, Magneto, and Red Skull. You get 4 henchman groups that include like the Doom bots, Hand Ninjas, and Sentinels. And you also get 7 villain groups, which are like the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, Spider Foes, Enemy of Asgard. And you also get 8 different schemes. So you get quite a bit in the box. In Marvel Champions, you're going to get 5 different heroes. Spidey, Captain Marvel, Iron Man, She-Hulk, and Black Panther. They each have their own Nemesis deck to go with them. You're going to get 3 villains. You get Ultron, Claw, and Rhino. They each have their own scheme deck as well. And then you're going to get some fixed encounter sets. And then you also are going to get 5 modular encounter sets and a standard encounter. That's kind of what you put together to make the villain deck. What you also get is you get 4 aspect decks in here. So those are the colors I was talking about. So you have like leadership and power and a couple others. I forget the names of them. So right out of the box, I do feel that Marvel Champions is a little bit lacking in what you get in the box. Like I said, you get 5 heroes, but you can only play 4 of them at any given time. And if you want to play one of the other heroes, you have to deconstruct one of the pre-constructed decks. But I guess the rationale here is that you have 5 heroes, 4 aspect decks that you can mix and match to make different versions of the hero. So you're getting a little bit more out of the box. However, that said, I do think that the amount of gameplay that you get in Marvel Legendary, there a bit more variety, and there's a little bit something for everyone. This one, Marvel Champions, does give you a little bit less in the box, but with the different customization options, it kind of makes up for it, except you're just going to get those 5 heroes. And it is kind of a weird mix of heroes, right? Because it's not the standard fare. Like they included She-Hulk right out of the gate, and Black Panther, which eventually they did get to in Marvel Legendary, but they weren't part of the core set. Like Marvel Legendary comes out of the gate with all of the most common heroes. Like there's a couple that are kind of more obscure, like you have Gambit in there. But for the most part, I think there's a lot more bang for your buck inside of Marvel Legendary. And now let's get back into my final thoughts. Go back to your regularly scheduled program. So my pick for the Battle of the Marvels is I'm going to go with Marvel Legendary all day, every day. Marvel Champions is a great game, but I really like Legendary. I'm a sucker for deck builders, and this scratches pretty much every itch. I think the theme on it is really cool. It's very heavy. Like you feel like you're in that. a lot of people, like I said, have the disconnect of I'm not playing as the hero, but once you take a step back and you say, oh, I see I start out with shield people. I am a shield officer, recruiting heroes, and I'm on the battlefield telling them, hey, you go over here and do this. Ooh, you go over there and do this. You go over there and do that. That's essentially what you're doing. And once you think of it from that point of view, you're basically like Nick Fury or Maria Hill. You are on the ground commanding people what to do. You're the leader. You are not the hero themselves. And once you kind of make that distinction, the theme really kicks in. And just the amount of things that they've done with this, and the amount of keywords and mechanics they've added and all the cool stuff. I really, really, really dig Marvel Legendary. So that's going to do it for me. If you have a preference, let us know in the comments. Let me know what your favorite expansion was for either game. Like I said, my favorite expansion, I think it's rated as 9.5, is Marvel Legendary. Dark City. Also, one of my lowest rated things on BGG is a Marvel expansion. It was Fantastic Four. It just did not click for me. And that was one that was going for a pretty penny on the aftermarket because of that whole Fox movie deal stuff. They didn't reprint that Fantastic Four after that initial printing, so it was really hard to get. And I debated selling it, and I just never did. I kind of wish I did because I rarely pick any of those heroes to go in. Just didn't click for me. Art, mechanics, everything. I think the best thing we got out of that was the new masterminds. The heroes, the Fantastic Four, were just not good. Just not good. Not for me. So that's it. So let me know. Favorite game, favorite expansions. Which one would you choose? If you had to be on a desert island, which one would you take with you? That's going to do it for me. Stay tuned for another versus video in the future. Let me know what other games you want to see me talk about.
We hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please leave a comment or hit the like button. It really does help us out. If you have suggestions for future videos, let us know in the comments as well, and then subscribe to see what we come up with next.